Well, it's pretty basic. The credit requirement is not, you don't have to have perfect credit in any way. The minimum FICO is 640.
Okay.
If you're closer to 700, it just becomes a little bit easier to qualify, but it can be as low as 640. And again, I always recommend talk to a lender, see where you are at.
Right.
And if you need to do some work on your credit to maybe bump it up a little bit to help you qualify for more, or in a way that it's going to be easier for you to get the loan. Absolutely.
Welcome to the Selling Sandoval podcast, where we dive deep into the world of real estate in sunny California. I'm your host, Victoria Sandoval, and I'm thrilled to have you join me as I sit down with top-notch professionals, market analysts, and influential leaders who have mastered the art of closing deals. Together, we'll explore the ever-evolving market trends, debunk myths, and empower you with the tools to negotiate like a pro. So whether you're a buyer, seller, or agent seeking inspiration, this podcast is your key to unlocking real estate success in California. This is the Selling Sandoval podcast. I'm Victoria Sandoval, and I'm excited to embark on this journey with you. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Selling Sandoval. Today, I have a special guest with me. Her name is Flavia Ybarra.
Hello.
She is a lender. She's been in the business for quite some time. She's actually my go-to when it comes to down payment assistance. And a lot of you guys have been asking about that program. So I figured, why not invite her on to debunk myths, give you information about the new programs that have been accessible to buyers and the programs that are up and coming. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm excited to have you. You're my first lady guest.
Wow, what an honor.
I know. I'm like, I don't know how that happened. How I didn't have a woman sooner, but I guess there's not really there are a lot of women in real estate, but in like other real estate professions, there's not really as many. Like when you have appraisers and inspectors, a lot of male.
That is true.
So we need more
true.
Female appraisers, inspectors, termite inspectors, escrow and title. But anyhow, moving on. That's another topic. It's a topic for another day, but girl power, by the way. Anyhow, so let's talk about you. So how long have you been in the business?
Yes, well, I've been in the business since 2003, so it's been quite some time.
Okay.
And
nice.
Always in lending, always working as a mortgage loan originator.
Nice.
In San Diego.
Okay, and the company you're currently with, what's the name of the company?
It's called Lineage Lending. Yeah, it's a brokerage.
Okay.
Local
County.
San
Diego. Yeah. Okay, nice. And you guys cover all of San Diego?
We cover all of California and some other states as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you just came back from a pretty intensive, extensive training.
Yes.
Right. Where they're educating you on the new programs that came out. So I'm really excited to dive into that. What are the down payment assistance programs that are available to consumers?
Yes. Well, we have some state programs. The most popular one is the Cal HFA.
Okay.
That program has been around since 1975. They're self-funded. They are a very solid program, stable. Those funds have always been there.
Okay.
So that is one of the most popular ones. And the one that I just got training on is a local program here, San Diego County, City of San Diego, City of Chula Vista, City of El Cajon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they are coming up with some very neat stuff for buyers here.
Nice.
Yes, it's brand new. There are some specific programs for minorities, people of color, where they can get grants as well as down payment assistance.
Awesome.
So I'm very excited about it. Yes.
Yeah. So the Cal HAFA that's always been there, what is the down payment assistant percentage? What do they help you with? 3%, 5%, 20, 100? Just kidding. I wish.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Well, they do help with the minimum necessary. So for FHA, that would be 3.5%.
Okay.
For conventional, that would be the 3%.
Okay.
They did administer a program earlier this year, which was the Dream for All, where the assistance could be up to 20%. It was phenomenal, but very short-lived.
I know. It's like they released it and then the next day it was unavailable. So
Yep. I believe it lasted less than 2 weeks.
That's insane.
But it made it pretty busy for all of us in the business because the amount of interest was pretty large. Everyone wanted to learn about it, and good news, they will be bringing that program back.
Oh, awesome. Do you know when?
Yes, they are releasing the funds actually now in the fall.
Okay.
And then Kalhafa will work with the state as far as establishing more clear guidelines this
Okay.
time around.
Okay.
So people that really need the program will be able to take advantage of it.
Mm.
And so they expect early next year, perhaps January.
Okay. And then for the Dream for All, it's 20% assistance?
Yes.
Okay.
That is 20%.
Now, is the down payment assistance designed to help people who really are struggling financially, or is it designed for someone that has the money in the bank and can afford to put the money down and just decides they don't want to, they want to save that money? I mean, how do they look at that? How do they determine if they're eligible and if they deserve those funds, right?
Right.
Deserving of those funds.
Exactly. And the Dream for All was very lenient as far as not really checking for any of those things. And
Okay.
there's a lot of criticism and a lot of people complaining that those who ended up taking advantage of the program didn't really need it. They could have purchased the home anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas the idea is to help those that find themselves in a situation where it's impossible to buy, especially now. We know rates are
Right.
high. We're in that
Yeah.
environment.
Mhm.
Values are still high.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for people to qualify, or in order to qualify, they have to make more money or bring more down payment to the table.
Right.
And those programs are there to help bridge that gap.
Right. And so I kind of want to figure out whether this is a myth or not. Do you have to qualify? Do you have to make more money to qualify for DPA because you're financing more? Do you have to make less money? What is the truth behind all that?
Right. And there's a lot of misunderstanding surrounding that question. Is a great question.
Mhm.
There is a sweet spot, between 80 and 100% of the area median income. The
Okay.
area median income in San Diego right now is 116,000.
Okay.
So yes, there is a sweet spot. You cannot make too much money. You cannot make too little money.
Okay.
And it's important to talk to a lender that
Right.
will help see where you are at and point you in the right direction of which program you can be at. For example, for the Kalhafa in San Diego, the income limit is $230,000.
Oh, okay.
So you can make up to that much and still qualify for assistance.
Wow. And up to what sales price would they lend?
With the Kalhafa, there's really no limit
Really?
in the sales price. With the county programs, there are some limits, and they're specific to each city.
Okay.
But the limits are very realistic. It's not so low that there's going to be impossible for them to find something in the price range. I found the limits to be pretty realistic for the area.
Right. What about the eligibility requirements for the Kalhafa program?
Well, it's pretty basic. The credit requirement is not, you don't have to have perfect credit in any way. The minimum FICO is 640.
Okay.
If you're closer to 700, it just becomes a little bit easier to qualify, but it can be as low as 640. And again, I always recommend talk to a lender, see where you are at.
Right.
And if you need to do some work on your credit to maybe bump it up a little bit to help you qualify for more, or in a way that it's going to be easier for you to get the loan. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. And as far as the grants you had mentioned, I know you had mentioned something where when we were speaking earlier, that if you're kind of in a minority, that you would be able to qualify for some type of grant. Is that the case?
Yes, and that is part of the new program that the County of San Diego has released.
Okay.
And it's a pretty good program, and it's even better for Black, Hispanic, and people of color.
Okay.
They're doing that because they want those minorities to be able to be homeowners at a higher percentage. And so not only they're providing down payment assistance, but they're also providing grants for closing costs, and grants you don't have to pay back. So it's pretty generous. It's 20% down. The purchase price limit is 1.25. The income limits are very flexible too, in that particular group. So highly recommend looking into it, getting more information if you're interested in purchasing.
So as far as the grants, does that cover down payment and closing costs, or would it just cover?
It depends. Grants could be up to $40,000. Most
wow.
likely, your closing costs aren't going to be that high.
Mhm.
So whatever is left over could potentially be applied towards your down payment as well.
Okay. Can you use that money towards upgrades
I don't
or
think
repair? Kind of like
so.
that 403. What is it? The
403B.
403B program? No. Okay. So we can
Yeah,
get that out of the way, guys. So you know, you can't get cash back to remodel your home if you get a grant.
exactly. It's mainly to help you get in the house.
Right.
There might be some programs out there for that, but that will be a separate
Yeah.
separate thing. Yeah.
So are any of them area specific where they have to be within a certain, zip code? Because I remember back in the day, because I don't do down payment assistant too much, but when I have referred out to yourself or to other lenders in the past, I know they had to start with the 921, especially in San Diego, like
Mhm.
zip code. Is that the case?
Well, if it's Calhafa, it's a statewide.
Okay.
So even someone who is local but planning on moving out
Right.
of San Diego, you
Mhm.
can still get Calhafa down payment assistance. The Dream for All will also be statewide. For the county specific, then you have to be within San Diego County.
Okay.
But most of the county is covered in the program.
And also, if you were to, let's just say, get a down payment assistant, you purchase a property, a year goes by, it's an appreciating market, right? You have equity. Uh, you do a refi and cash out.
You can, but part of that cash out will have to be used to pay the down payment assistance.
Okay.
So if you have sufficient equity that you can pull cash out, pay off the down payment assistance loan that you got,
Mhm.
and have extra for yourself for repairs or debt consolidation, great.
Right.
But if not, then you might have to wait a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah, because anytime you pay off the first loan, whether it's through a refinance or a sale, you
Right.
have to pay back the down payment assistance loan.
Okay. And then as far as, the grants or DPA, if you were to sell, do you have to hold on to a property within a certain period of time? Is there like any restrictions like that where you can't sell?
No,
Okay.
the only restriction will be if you do sell, you have
You
to
have to pay back.
them back.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes, but if you need to move for whatever reason, then you can sell. The one thing that you cannot do is rent out the home. It has to
Ooh,
be
owner occupied.
owner occupied,
Okay.
and you have to be a first-time home buyer too. That is like their main requirement.
Do you know if they charge when you pay off the loan in a sale, do they charge like an interest, or do you just pay off what you owe, or do they add interest on top of that? Are you aware?
There is interest. Yes, there is
Okay.
interest, but it's nominal.
Okay.
Some programs, the interest is 1%.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh
some
my
others is
gosh.
3%,
That's not
but
bad at all.
not bad at all,
Wow.
especially if it's what's going to make a difference in whether or not you can purchase a home.
Right.
So that interest shouldn't deter you from getting the assistance if that's what you need. The
Okay.
Dream for All is a little bit different. It's a shared appreciation, so it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still those are really good programs. They are
Okay.
designed to help and not for them to make a huge profit on it or anything like that. They just
Yeah.
want to make sure that the funds come back to them in a way that they can continue to offer them to other people.
Right. That makes perfect sense. And is there like an educational process? Like I know when you take out certain loans, like back in the day, they had the negative amortization loan. And I think now you have to take a class. Well, I don't even know if they have that program available, or like with the reverse mortgage, you have to take a class. Do they make you take a class prior to taking out a loan like this? Because it's a lot of money they're lending, and very little
Absolutely.
risk on the buyer side, right?
Exactly. So they do make you take a first-time home buyer education course,
Okay.
one that is specific to the program that will clarify and give you all the information you need to have, such as, what are your responsibilities, what you
Right.
can and cannot do to the property, and how you pay it back.
Mhm.
So all of that is going to be covered, and you get a certificate at the end. So, they want to make sure that the buyer fully understands everything that has to do with what they're getting into.
Okay, perfect. And then if you've purchased a home in the past, can you utilize the down payment assistance program, or do you have to be a first time home buyer?
You have to be a first-time home buyer, but the definition of first-time home buyer could change. And I mean, the most basic one is 3 years. You cannot have owned a home
Okay.
in 3 years.
Okay.
So if you owned a home in the past and you sold, but now you're purchasing it again, and you didn't use down payment assistance in the past, that's another big one. They don't want to keep giving the assistance to the same person.
Don't take
over and
advantage of the
over
system,
again.
guys. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's people like that.
Exactly.
But what if my grandfather added me to title on his property because he wanted to make sure if something happened that I basically benefited from, or I inherited the property? Would I qualify for a down payment assistant? Because I mean,
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, you will. And then that's a very good question
Yeah.
that I asked in one of the trainings that I went to.
Oh, nice.
And yes, because you haven't lived there.
Oh, I see.
So let's say, yes, you are on title of this property in another state, that you have never lived there. You're here in San Diego. That's where you live. That's where your family is. And you're paying rent here.
Mhm.
You are a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
So yeah, there's some exceptions like that. So to make sure that you don't get discouraged, and talk to a lender to make sure.
Okay, perfect. And what should home buyers expect in terms of like the application process besides the educational course that they have to take? How easy is it to get pre-qualified, and how long does it take?
Well, exactly. For home buyers, there's really not much of a difference at all
Okay.
as far as applying for the down payment assistance versus other programs.
Mhm.
My recommendation always is to talk to a lender as soon as possible, just to see where you are, if there's anything that you need to do as far as improving your credit, or if you need to have more funds of your own, you have enough time to have that ready to go. So when you go out looking for a home, you're well positioned.
Right.
And if your offer gets accepted, you will close within the time frame that you have to close, and then it'll be a smooth sale.
So if somebody wanted to apply for the Dream for All program, and let's just say tomorrow, they watch the podcast next week, right? And they say, I want to be prepared and ready. Can they contact you so you have them ready to go when it comes out, or like in line for it? Or what would you recommend for someone that wants to apply for this program?
Unfortunately, we cannot get in line, but the more prepared that you are, the higher are your chances for success.
Okay.
My clients that were able to take advantage of that program when it only lasted 10 days were the ones that were already pre-qualified.
Oh, okay.
And looking for homes in a way, kind of already knew what they wanted and had a couple of ideas. So they were able to get into escrow rather quickly, and we could apply for the funds.
Awesome. So I think the moral of the story, guys, is call Flavia now. So you're ready. How can one get a hold of you if they want to just inquire about the down payment assistant program?
Absolutely. Well, they can just give me a call, send me a text. I can leave you with my number.
What's your phone number?
Yes, it is 858-699-0732. Or they can email me at flavia@lineagelending.com. And I'll be happy to provide any information, take an application, give advice. Yes, there are some resources out there, guys.
All right, Flavia. Well, thanks so much for being a guest. I'm excited to have you. It's always great seeing you. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.
You.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Selling Sandoval podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and stay tuned for more valuable insights and practical tips. Remember, whether you're a buyer, seller, or an aspiring real estate agent, the Selling Sandoval podcast is your trusted companion in navigating the dynamic California real estate landscape. Until next time, keep dreaming big and making those real estate dreams a reality. This is Victoria Sandoval, signing off from the Selling Sandoval podcast, wishing you success and happiness in all of your real estate endeavors.